Number 10. Wind Spirit. After successfully completing a mission as the only surviving member of the party, Eun Jeomho was promoted to commander of the Black Panther Squad. He was able to survive the mission with the help of a woman from the enemy country. She helped him escape and provided him with a secret martial art technique. To save her, he trained hard. During training, he was led by an unknown voice, who later discovered that the owner of the voice was locked up in the palace's high-security prison. Following that unknown voice, he meets the man in prison and becomes his disciple. After inheriting his master's powers, Eun Jeomho promises to take revenge for his master. In order to save the woman who once saved his life and fulfill his master's last wish, Eun Jeomho is training hard to become strong. Number 9. Return of the Manhwa Sect. This is the story of Chung Myung, the 13th disciple of the Manhwa Sect known as Plum Blossom Sword Saint. After defeating the demon king Chun Ma, he died of his wounds in battle. 100 years later he was born again and realized that the Manhwa sect was on the verge of collapse. In order to restore and uplift his sect, he joins that sect as a disciple and uses the knowledge from his previous life to strengthen himself and the sect. Number 8. Memoir of the King of War. Sa Yu is a talented kid who lives in a small village with his friend and sister, and so the story begins. Later, a group of martial artists kidnap his friend's sister and kill his friend. He almost dies while trying to save them. He was discovered by a master of martial arts known as the Heavenly Artillery General. After seeing his intense efforts to stay alive, the master of martial arts decides to save him and accept him as a disciple. The master was on the verge of death due to heavy injuries in a previous battle with enemies. He teaches Sa Yu the techniques of his secret martial arts and requests Sa Yu to find his long-lost daughter. Sa Yu begins his journey to find his friend's sister and the master's daughter. Number 7. Bowblade Spirit. The story of a young boy who lives in the mountains with his grandfather. His grandfather taught archery and training from an early age. After becoming proficient in bow technique, he was sent to Songjo, claiming that his grandfather had arranged him a marriage with the lady of Namgun clan. In his journey, he helps a lot of people and makes a lot of friends. But the real question is, why did his grandfather lie? Read the story to know. Number 6. Magic Emperor. After being executed by his faithful disciples, the Demon Emperor was reborn as a domestic servant in the Liu family. In order to reclaim his strength and avenge those who killed him, Zhou Fan decided to turn the declining Liu family into one of the strongest families on the continent. The story is about a very clever and highly skilled demon cultivator. No matter how strong the enemy is, he always have backup plans. In the world of villains, he is the real villain. Number 5. Sword Sheath's Child. First of all, this story is very interesting and strange. The characters, including MC, have strange powers that are said to be the power of martial arts. The story itself does not focus on war or violence, but rather on solving mysteries. This is the story of a boy named Bura who lives with his grandfather in the mountains. One day his grandfather left without saying anything, but warned him not to leave the mountains. Bura once rescued a warrior named Tanyu and later befriended him. In order to save Tanyu and find his grandfather, Bura left the mountains. Seeing others and experiencing the outside world, Bura discovered the meaning of his existence and the use of his strange powers. Number 4. Lightning Degree. Ryu Yian lost his father when he was 10 years old. An old man found Ryu Yian and asked him to become that man's disciple. When he agreed to be that man's disciple, he thought, what could go wrong? But as soon as he accepted the old man as his master, he fell into a trap. His master made him work all day under the guise of training. He washes clothes, cooks and cleans, cuts wood, and after becoming the disciple he never had a day off in his life. He cursed his master every day. But he did not realize that his master was preparing him to learn a secret martial art technique. This is a funny story of a disciple and his lazy master. Number 3. Legend of the Northern Blade. The story begins with the childhood of MC, who loses his father and becomes the son of a traitor. The story of Jin Mu Wan, the son of the leader of the Northern Heavenly Sect. To fight the darkness, a group was formed and named the Northern Heavenly Sect. After defeating the darkness, jealous martial artists conspired to assassinate the father of Jin Mu Wan. They imprisoned him and destroyed all the martial arts books in the Northern Heavenly Sect to prevent him from studying any martial arts. Years later, he discovers a secret technique left behind by his father and begins to study it in secret. To prove his father's innocence and seek revenge, he begins his journey. Number 2. Gosu. The story of a young man who begins his journey to fulfill his master's last wish to avenge his betrayers before he dies. But before he can start, he hears that all of his master's enemies are already dead, and then decides to lead a normal life and live as an errand boy in a small restaurant. Soon, he realizes that his master's enemies are still alive, and they have faked their deaths. It resumed his journey to fulfill his master's last wish. This is a very interesting story. His life as an errand boy is full of fun moments, but when he resumes his martial arts career, it is completely serious and action-packed. Number 1. Chronicles of Heavenly Deamon. This is the story of the last student in the Spear Master Sect. Hyuk Woon Seong was the one and only student of the Spear Master Sect. The master was poisoned to death by other jealous factions. He tried to get revenge, but he failed and died at their hands. Years later, he is reborn as a disciple of demonic cult and trains himself to be strong enough to avenge those who killed him and his master. This is a well-developed story, though mainly focused on revenge.